Hey folks, this is Gabe, Security Baron, and do you think you could benefit from having a real live human watching over your home? Well, let's see if that's the right solution in our look at Deep Sentinel. In today's review of the Deep Sentinel home security system, I'm going to go over some pros and cons, talk about the system components, go over the installation experience, the mobile application, before going over the user experience and answering some common questions. And then finally, I'll give you a recap and tell you who I think this system is made for. For a full breakdown on the Deep Sentinel home security system, check out our comprehensive written review at securitybaron.com. There you will find tips and guides on how to set up your smart home security system, along with the Safest Cities guide that shows you some of the safest cities across the country. Once again, this can all be found at securitybaron.com. Let's kick off today's review of the Deep Sentinel home security system, going over some pros and cons, beginning with the pros. Now, Deep Sentinel is an AI-powered home security system with motion sensors built in, which means that it's able to detect people and packages and animals and cars and process that data to see if something suspicious is going on. Secondly, if something is deemed to be off, the real live Sentinel guards are alerted. Then they can actually speak directly to whoever is on the premises, ask them what's going on, and if necessary, call the proper authorities and actually give an accurate description of what is taking place. Finally, the system is well designed and the components are substantive. When motion is observed or detected, there is a ring of flashing red lights that appear in the camera itself, serving as a powerful visual deterrent. Now, when it comes to cons with the Deep Sentinel home security system, my primary concern is the fact that it has no additional security components beyond the camera. So you're essentially fully dependent on you or Deep Sentinel on catching the potential perpetrator before they enter your home. For example, if you had an entry sensor, you would at least know that a door had been opened or a window had been opened, things of that nature. So if you want that layer of protection, you're gonna have to buy a completely different system. And that's our look at the pros and cons for the Deep Sentinel home security system. Well, hold on, I hope you're enjoying today's Deep Sentinel home security review. If you want to be kept up to date on the newest in smart home security systems, smart home security in general, cybersecurity, and more, subscribe to our channel, Security Baron. We're dropping new content weekly. All right, let's get back to the video. Now that we've gone over the pros and cons for the Deep Sentinel home security system, let's talk about the system components. And the primary components are going to be your hub, 4 gigabytes of RAM and 64 gigabytes of flash storage, and your home security cameras. Now, in terms of charging the cameras, it's actually really interesting. You charge the batteries inside of the hub itself. They charge within a couple of hours and they'll last for a few months. You're also going to get a power cable, mounting brackets, a lawn sign, and window stickers with your Deep Sentinel home security system. And if you'd like to add an extra camera, that's going to be $199 for each camera. And that's a look at the system components for the Deep Sentinel home security system. Now that we've gone over the pros and cons and the system components with the Deep Sentinel home security system, let's jump into its feature set, beginning with that all-important feature, home monitoring. Now, it's $49 a month to have that extra pair of eyes on your property with your Deep Sentinel home security system, which equals out to $588 a year, or you can pay all of it up front for a significant discount, and it'll be $490 annually. And remember, because the whole point is to have that extra pair of eyes, there is no self-monitoring option with Deep Sentinel. Next, let's talk about arming and disarming your system with the Deep Sentinel. Now, there is no keypad or fob because there's really no arming or disarming the system. It's either being in private mode or being in the typical Deep Sentinel surveillance mode. Now, you can share access to the system with anyone you'd like, and they can all decide whether they want to turn off or turn on the system. And what I mean by that is you can decide what each camera is seeing at any given moment. So private mode means that only you're seeing what's happening on screen. Whereas with the Deep Sentinel mode, any one of the live guards at Deep Sentinel can actually see what's happening. So maybe if you're having a private event in your backyard and you know people are in the backyard, well, you don't have to actually have that camera on because you don't need it, and then you just have it in privacy mode. So those are your options for arming and disarming your Deep Sentinel home security system. Now let's talk about notifications with the Deep Sentinel home security system. Now, when it comes to notifications, there are two modes. You have your privacy mode and you have your live mode. So speaking on privacy, it's only going to tell you what it sees. Remember, this is a camera-based system, so you name each camera. So if I have a camera named front door, it's going to tell me it's detected motion at the front door, and that's it because I'm in privacy mode. But most of the time, you're going to be in that Deep Sentinel live mode where people are actually watching your home, making sure that things are okay. And in this sense, you basically have three tiers in which you can be notified. The first tier is anytime they verify motion. So anytime they detect something and they actually look to see, you can be notified. So you can actually go in and live stream it yourself if you'd like to. The second element is you only want to be notified when they intervene. So if they actually speak to someone or tell someone to move away from your home, you can be notified. And then the final basically tier of that is being notified only when law enforcement is on the way. Now let's talk about the video and two-way audio quality on the Deep Sentinel home security system. Now this is a camera-based surveillance system, so you want to be able to pick things up well. Unfortunately, you can't have 1080p high definition video, which is important because they may call you before they call the law enforcement in order to accurately describe what's happening. So you have to be able to see things well to make sure that everyone knows exactly what's taking place on your property. And speaking of property, you want to get that maximum coverage, and each camera does have a 130-degree field of view, so it should be capturing most everything taking place on your premises. Now, what about nighttime? You know, crimes of convenience also happen in the dark, and fortunately it has 16 infrared LED sensors in order to make sure that it can see very well in the dark, so you shouldn't have any issues when it comes to that. And you want to, of course, be able to intervene in the situation. So if it's not you and your ability to use two-way audio, it may be the folks at Deep Sentinel. And the people at Deep Sentinel have to be able to be heard and hear what's being said. So if they say, hey, what are you doing on the property? They need to hear what's being said in return. And fortunately, that's a really clear process with Deep Sentinel cameras and their two-way audio.
Hello, this is Deep Sentinel Security. Is there something I can help you with, miss?
Now, the final element is you may just want to scare off an intruder, and it does have a 104 decibel alarm siren built in. Now, when it comes to accessing footage on the Deep Sentinel home security system, you do have the ability to access all of it in your mobile application. Now, in that mobile app, you can download it directly to the mobile device itself. You can share it with others, and you have 64 gigabytes of that cloud storage for free, which is massive. And in terms of local storage, it's all going to be stored in a flash drive directly on the device. And of that, you also get 64 gigabytes. When it comes to smart platform integration, Deep Sentinel does not have any smart platform integrations. When we asked them why, they responded, and frankly, we understood their reasoning. They said that they did not want to be susceptible to any type of hacking of other smart hubs or smart devices, and wanted to focus on security and privacy. Now, what if you need help? Well, you can call, email, or live chat the Deep Sentinel customer support team. They also have community forums, FAQs, and guides available, though I will note that they seem to still be developing some of these pages, as I ran into a few 404 pages. And that's our look at the feature set on the Deep Sentinel home security system. Now let's talk about the installation process with your Deep Sentinel home security system. So you're going to want to download the mobile application to your mobile device, and from there you're going to plug in the Ethernet cable and the power adapter to the hub itself. Now you want your hub to be centrally located so it can actually hit all of the cameras, and Deep Sentinel even wants you to have yours, 6 to 8 feet off the ground. Now in my case, I live kind of on like a second floor, and I didn't have to place it any higher, and it was able to reach a lot of my cameras no matter how far away they were. Now, when you're actually setting it up, once you have the mobile app downloaded, it'll guide you through the setup experience, and when it's finished, the actual LED will quit blinking and have a solid glow. Now, when it comes to your cameras, you're going to take each camera individually and pair it with the hub. Now, you're going to want to be in proximity with the hub before you place it anywhere, but it's pretty straightforward. You'll take the battery, make sure it's in the back of the camera itself, and then you just tap on the pairing button, and once you begin the pairing, you'll see a white blinking light around the rim of this camera device, and from there it'll pair within a few seconds. Then you're going to just take it and place it where you'd like to put it outside with the included mounting hardware. Now, when you're first setting up this system, you've already put in your address, they know where you are, but in order to make sure that the live Sentinel guards are actually seeing you, you actually can go through and make the A sign like the YMCA, and from there, they'll know that you are the person that owns the house and that you're setting up the system and you want that live monitoring to be active. So that's an overview of the installation process with your Deep Sentinel home security system. Now that we have it installed, let's check out the mobile application experience for the Deep Sentinel home security system. Now in the Apple App Store, it has a 4.5 out of 5-star rating, which is pretty solid, though it only has 21 reviews. And in the Google Play Store, it also does well, where it has 4.4 out of 5-star rating, and that's going to be out of 25 reviews. So let's go ahead and check it out on my iPhone. So here I am checking out the Deep Sentinel mobile application. Now, you'll note right from the top, you see that the recent events, the verified events that take place, and let's go ahead and check that out. Here you can see a video. Now, this is one of my buddies. We share the same mail, so he's just checking the mail to see if anything came, looking to see if anyone dropped off any packages. And when you note that they don't actually, call the police or anything, because this is New York City. A lot of people share mailboxes and spaces, and so it's very clear that he just was there checking out to make sure that nothing was there, and he's been there over the course of a week. So the live Sentinel guards have gotten used to his presence. Now, if we wanted to go and look at a live view of the same space, we can do so. Takes a moment for it to come. I'll say about 3 or 5 seconds. And now look, we're seeing exactly where that just was. You can see the various icons. You see the sound on the left, the walkie-talkie on the bottom right. So I could speak directly to whoever happens to be on the other side, myself, because right now I actually am on privacy mode. Now, if I wanted to go to the protection, you can actually just make your own zones here. And there are a lot of points, so you can make a pretty specific zone. So I can just move around, do what I want, and see, where I can give some privacy to those neighbors coming down, or maybe I want to, see if anyone's going to come down into this space, and boom, there we have it. Now let's get out of here, and I can do the same for my side door, but I wanted to point out, you see these like eyelashes where the privacy is on. This essentially means that the live Sentinel guards' eyes are closed to your property. Now you can do just one, or you can do two. So if I wanted to just turn off the privacy on one, I can do so. So now it's not watching the front door view, but it will watch the side door view. And remember, we have 2 set up in the moment, but you actually get 3 cameras with your Deep Sentinel system, and you can add more, which is really useful. Now that privacy is on, let's go ahead and turn it off. And now we've turned off the privacy altogether. So now all of my system is being watched. You know that there's guards on duty. And let's see what that process looks like. So a guard was looking at me this morning as I walked around the space, excuse the feet. I just used this one just so I can get an idea of what's going on. And then I can actually go ahead and decide on looking at the entire history of what's taking place. So if I go into the history, you can see the names of the guards, the moment the event took place. You can go back to Sunday, Monday. You have a lot of different events that you can watch. So when I was initially setting up a different camera in a different space, eating some Apple Jacks, you can see in the kitchen, and go into the home space, go into my account, and here you can see the different devices. I can add a new device. If I wanted to add a new camera, that entire process would be pretty straightforward. I can add a range extender for those of you who have a larger property. You will definitely want something like a range extender, and all of these elements are right here. So let's go ahead and talk a bit about what the actual icons are. So you have verified, guard intervene, which means that someone is either talking to a person, maybe asking them what they're doing in a particular space and around your home, or they can even activate the siren. Or if it seems bad, someone's stealing something or someone's trying to get into your home, there might be an emergency situation, and even law enforcement can come onto the property. So you have different options there for Deep Sentinel in terms of letting you know exactly what's taking place, because when you're at work, you can't actually be watching all of this all the time. So that's our look at the Deep Sentinel mobile application. Now I want to talk a little bit about my personal experience with Deep Sentinel. Now, you probably know that I live in New York, so frankly, I don't know if I'm the exact person or demographic that Deep Sentinel is really pushing this device towards, because I live in a city that has, 8 million people constantly walking in and out. You're constantly interacting, interfacing with other people. So I frankly think that it should be overwhelming to Deep Sentinel. That being said, they actually did pretty well. Each time someone came onto my house, I would know in terms of a neighbor or a mail person or a delivery person or anything of that nature, I was notified, and they would verify the motion to see who it was. It was actually really useful. We saw that there were some weird things happening with people dropping off packages and maybe taking packages, and we were able to catch that with the Deep Sentinel. This has been a bit of a scourge in Brooklyn as of late. And I actually really like the element of it that they actually talk to the person first instead of just like an immediate call to the police, which is not necessarily what you want. And that conversation is really useful. In fact, it was an interesting moment in which my landlord's partner actually was going through the mail. Now, we all share the same mailbox, but because she wasn't necessarily recognized, they actually spoke directly to her. And so they actually called me directly and they gave me a description. And from there, I was able to say, oh, I know who that is. And it wasn't really escalated any further. And then maybe in the future, I'm assuming that that will become like an understood element of the Deep Sentinel home security system as it pertains to my particular home. Now, I do want to point out that I do believe that the Deep Sentinel may work for places that are a little bit less trafficked than New York City. My parents live in the suburbs of Nashville, Tennessee, and there they don't get people really coming into their front yard without one reason or another. So if anyone actually comes up, it is actually useful for that to happen in terms of someone intervening, someone speaking to that visitor, because generally speaking, my parents are going to know when people are coming. Someone in a city wouldn't have the same experience. Like I have a million people coming to my door every day. My brothers live in the neighborhood. They're coming often. So it's just a little bit more difficult, a little bit more of a process. And I don't think you'd have those concerns as much if you lived in the suburbs. Now I want to answer some common questions about the Deep Sentinel home security system, beginning with how does Deep Sentinel work? Well, Deep Sentinel uses both artificial intelligence and real live human guards watching your system to make sure that nothing suspicious is taking place on your property. The second question is, does Deep Sentinel work with police departments? And yes, Deep Sentinel was created in collaboration with about 50 police departments. And because of that collaboration and the fact that there are real live guards watching, they will respond faster to calls from the Deep Sentinel system. The third question is, does Deep Sentinel work with any smart platforms like Amazon or Google? And the answer is no. Deep Sentinel purposely does not work with any smart platforms. Now I want to provide you with a brief recap telling you who I think the Deep Sentinel home security system is made for. And I honestly feel that this system is made for someone who wants a really strong defense perimeter for their home. And that can actually be pushed out a great deal because Deep Sentinel does have range extenders for their cameras. Now you just have to be okay with occasionally having to recharge using the hub, the batteries, and then putting them back out because they're going to last for a number of months. The second person I think the Deep Sentinel home security system is for is the person who does not want to be lit up with notifications throughout the day. If you want to delegate the watching, the surveilling of your home to a professional team, Deep Sentinel can definitely do that for you. The final person I think that this system is for is the person who already has an interior home security system. The person who just wants to extend that home security beyond the confines of the home to the entire perimeter of their property. And Deep Sentinel can definitely fill that role. Whew, all right, that's our review of the Deep Sentinel home security system. Now, if you have any comments or like to ask us any questions, please leave us a message below. And if you appreciated today's video, give us a like and hit that subscribe button. As always, this is Gabe Security Baron. Be secure.